Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth. It's Tuesday, June 28th. Hope you're well today. And going to get started with today's live stream here in about 30 seconds. We'll give it another half a minute or so for people to join us. I see we have some people joining the live stream, so welcome. Going to get started here in about 20 seconds. If you're just joining the stream, let us know where you're tuning in from in the live chat below. All right, going to get started with today's live stream, folks. This is a public live stream today. We usually do these every single day, Monday to Friday, around the same time for private Power Group community members. I've been getting a lot of questions lately and my thoughts and opinions on the market. I just haven't had time to respond to everybody, so I thought I'd take the time and come on and do a public live stream. Going to do some ticker requests at the end after a market update. So if you do have any ticker requests, you can place them inside the chat. For those that are in the private Power Group community, you can post it inside the Slack community, and I'll get to those first, and then we'll get to anybody in the public YouTube chat. Just drop in the ticker with the exchange, and I'll do my best to get to that before the end of the stream. It'll all depend on time. I do have a couple other things I have to do this evening, and a couple other videos I want to get out as well. So I'll do my best, just depending on how many requests that we do have. But we'll take a look at the market overview here. Before we jump into it, though, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, you'll be notified on any future live streams or videos. Taking a look at the crypto space, so we're seeing a lot of red here at the moment, and we're finally starting daily consolidation in the S&P 500. Bitcoin was our clue that we could see that weakness in the S&P 500 in the broader market today, and the reason why I mentioned that is because Bitcoin's been consolidating now on the daily time frame for 2 days in a row. And I mentioned yesterday that SPY, if we chart the SPX chart, because we don't want to factor in the dividend because it skews the numbers. We bring up SPX, you can see here we hadn't consolidated in about a week. And I said yesterday in the private Power Group community live stream, I said watch for potential daily consolidation as early as tomorrow. Bitcoin gave us the clue. We were due. We knew that, it's been a week since we pulled back in the daily time frame. This is just healthy in my opinion. And anything over, we'll bring up the SPY chart here, anything over 381 is a potential daily bull flag. And you can see here that we now have a daily higher low that's forming, a potential daily bull flag, and now the bulls have the opportunity to confirm a daily uptrend here. If we break resistance at 391.36, say tomorrow or into the end of the week, that's going to confirm a daily uptrend, and it will also confirm the daily bull flag as long as we do not drop below the low of the day today at 380.71. I would consider anything below that, that's going to negate this bull flag, but at the moment, it's still a bull flag to perfection, really, and the target of that bull flag is targeting about 413 on SPY. And we know that we have to remain skeptical until we confirm daily uptrends, and then we need weekly uptrends, right? So there's a long road ahead of us, and right now bears are still in full control, but like I said, we knew that we were due for some daily consolidation, and at the moment this is just healthy. We're just scouting a daily higher low. How do we know when the daily higher low is set? We need to confirm an hourly uptrend. We could still see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross on these EMAs. So that means we could see a little bit more downside. We also have a gap here at 380. And we also have a gap in the chart as well on the daily time frame in terms of resistance. We filled the first gap there at 390, but we have another gap at 401. And again, I'm charting SPX right now because of the fact that the dividend was recently applied to the SPY chart and skewed the numbers a little bit. So charting SPX. So it's looking like bulls could potentially change the daily trend here. We got a ton of room to form this daily higher low and higher high. If we pull back any more from this level, like if we lose 382 on SPX, then that's going to negate the odds of a daily bull flag, and it's going to increase the odds that we see more of a tightening range and equilibrium versus another leg up, right? So we want to continually monitor SPY at the moment because that is going to dictate the direction from here. We know Bitcoin has been leading the market ever since really March 2020 and C19 lows. Bitcoin has been giving us early clues. Again, the clue that we could expect daily consolidation on the S&P 500 today was the fact that Bitcoin already started it yesterday. and we had yet to do it on SPY. So that's why I was quite confident, and also the fact that we hadn't consolidated in almost a week. But Bitcoin support is at 19,751. If we take a look at SPY, again, watching for a potential to close this gap here. That second gap, we close the first one, and usually all gaps get filled in time. So again, lots of room here to form that daily high or low. We'll take a look at the dollar here. So the dollar was at risk of a daily downtrend. If we lose 103.41, that's the key support going forward on the dollar. If we lose that, we confirm a daily downtrend. We did start weekly consolidation, meaning we lost the low of the previous week, and we're still in a weekly uptrend as well. That's the most important thing as well on DXY. If we do manage to close below this EMA 12, the yellow line, that's going to be notable as well, as we've been riding that as support really since back here in January. And if we close below that, we're likely heading down to EMA 26, somewhere around that 100 level. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw that. And again, we know that nothing goes in a straight line forever, and we're likely due for some healthy consolidation. And we're not seeing much consolidation so far. Right now, it's a potential a weekly bull flag. Actually, no, we pulled back a little bit more than we would like. So I would say that it's no longer a weekly bull flag. If we do continue to pull back from here, watch for a potential head and shoulders on the DXY. If we continue to drop and consolidate on the weekly, if we lose EMA 12, we could be heading down here to this neckline and watch for a potential head and shoulders. That would mean that we could see a lot more downside in the dollar, and that would be good for crypto and stocks. And the measured move would be somewhere around that 97 area if we do see this head and shoulders on the weekly confirm. See if there's anything else worth mentioning today. Gold and silver. Gold's a weekly inside bar, so just tightening range. We do have the possibility of a weekly uptrend confirming on gold here with the low, high, scouting a higher low. And then if we get our higher high, we would be back in a weekly uptrend on gold. All right, let's take a look at some individual tickers. So Tesla in a daily uptrend, you can see here we have the low, high, higher low, and higher high. We're just scouting a higher low here compared to key support at 685.91. If we lose 685.91, we lose the daily uptrend, and that will not be good for Tesla bulls, right? Maybe you're looking to short this one. It wouldn't be a bad short if we did lose that support. But right now, this is just healthy, in my opinion. And we're consolidating on the daily time frame, looking for that higher low. Again, we need to change the hourly trend back to an uptrend to give us confidence that daily higher low has been set. And also watching for a potential head and shoulders here on Tesla as well. You can see here we're forming the head. If we do hold the neckline support here, which is at 539, so we'll round it up to 540, and then we bounce on the right shoulder, we come back around that 975, 1000 area. Just watch for a potential of a right shoulder. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but if we do confirm this head and shoulders, we've got a target of about 215 on Tesla. We know we have no monthly support after that level at 540 until 70. Wow, all the way down at 70. Keep in mind, this is factoring in post-split, and there could be another split coming up here. I think there's another split coming up in a couple weeks into August. But again, if we do see this head and shoulders, we could see a lot more downside for Tesla. Movers and shakers on the day today, we've got VERY, Coin, and Hive. On the bull list, we got WNRS, JSDA, and BLU. Canadian MJ, so Tilray still in a daily uptrend, kind of similar to Tesla actually. You can see Tesla on the daily time frame has been in a daily uptrend, while SPY, the S&P 500, is lagging. We still have yet to confirm a daily uptrend on the S&P 500, so we can see that Bitcoin gave us an early clue, and then Tesla started to consolidate, and then SPY consolidated. It's usually in that order because Tesla holds a ton of Bitcoin on their balance sheet. They actually made more, 1 quarter off profits from Bitcoin, their Bitcoin purchase, than they did selling cars, right? So when Bitcoin moves, Tesla usually moves, and because of such a huge weighting in the S&P 500, then we see the S&P 500 react after Tesla, right? It's kind of a chain reaction. But if you see here, we got the high, the low, the high, the higher low, and higher high. Look, scouting for a higher low. What does that remind you of? Kind of the Tilray chart, right? Low, high, higher low, higher high. Daily uptrend confirmed. Now scouting a daily higher low compared to key support there at 314. As long as we hold 314, we're still in a daily uptrend on Tilray. And very notable that we're in daily uptrends on Tilray and a lot of our MJ names, while the S&P 500 still has yet to confirm a daily uptrend. And Tilray was one of the first. I think ACB was in a daily uptrend as well. Yeah, low, high, higher low, and higher high. CGC, there was some FUD out today about potential bankruptcy risks. I may do a video on that in detail and my thoughts on that, but in an effort of time, we'll continue on here. But again, LPs are standing out notably stronger here. We could even see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross here on the daily time frame on Cron. And if we bring up HMMJ, you can see we're in a daily uptrend here as well. We didn't have a clear pivot here, but if you wanted to argue and say that that was a higher low, then I wouldn't argue with you. But here we are now convincingly forming a higher low. And it's all about support now at 355, but we had the low, the high, the higher low, and higher high. So now we're just scouting that daily higher low. How do we know when that has been established? Once we change the hourly trend back to an uptrend. And we need higher lows and higher highs on the hourly chart to confirm hourly uptrends. But you can see we're topping out at EMA 26, just following the rest of the broader market. So this is why it's so important to follow, things like Bitcoin and the S&P 500, because they're leading indicators and signals that we can use for each individual names, right? If you're only focusing on MJ stocks, you're not really getting the big picture. But again, HMMJ standing out notably stronger than the US. The US, if we take a look at MSOS still has yet to confirm a daily uptrend. We do have the potential here for an uptrend to confirm if 1081 support holds. We hit a low of 1084 today, so we're just looking for that higher low. If we hold that support and break resistance at 1172, say tomorrow or into the end of the week, then that's going to confirm a daily uptrend. So that's why we know that USMJ is a bit weaker at the moment, because we're still in a daily downtrend with these lower highs and lower lows. Anything under 1172 is just a lower high. And then we do have a lack of resistance really on the daily time frame up to about 1418 after that. So watch that key support or key resistance at 1172. After that, it's all the way up in the 14s. We do have the EMAs there as well, which have been rejecting the price for quite some time. And we're daily oversold. I believe we're still weekly oversold as well. Yep. And all it will take is some sort of safe banking news to come out that there's progress and these names are going to shoot up, 100, 200%. Again, not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only, but we could see a huge hard and fast move. But again, notable that HMMJ, the Canadian ETF, is in a daily uptrend, while MSOS, the US, the American company's ETF, is lagging. On the bear list, we've got Love, Hexo, and OGI leading the decline today. On the bull list, we've got NOVC, PCLO, and XTRX. Not a whole lot of green out there today. In terms of USMJ, on the bear list, we got CWeb, TAT, and Ian. On the bull list, we got FIT, KGKG, and MMEN. Let's take a look at Truly. So Truly did have a weekly bear flag target of, I think it was $13. Yep. It's a weekly inside bar at the moment, so we're watching resistance at 1818 and support at 1590. If we lose 1590, we continue the weekly consolidation, and we're likely targeting that $13 area, which is the bear flag target. We also had a daily bear flag on GTII with a target of about $10, I believe it was. Just bring that up here real quick. So you just take the high to the low, and then you move that over, measured move to the 0.382 fib. That would bring us down to about 925 actually. So daily inside bar resistance at 1151. And support is at 1042. If we lose 1042, we continue daily consolidation, and we're likely targeting that 925 area of that daily bull flag target, bear flag target rather. And if you're just joining us, if you could smash the like, it helps support me in the channel. If anybody does have any ticker requests, you can drop them into the chat. And if you could include the exchange as well, it just helps in effort of time. But we'll just take another quick peek at SPY. So again, we're still holding the lows here at 380.71, I believe it was. 380.71, yep. So anything, as long as we hold this low of today, it's still a potential daily bull flag and trend change setup potential into tomorrow. And if we see that daily bull flag confirm, we're likely heading up to that around that 413 area on SPY, and that would fill our second gap in the chart as well. Hi, Rod from Montreal. Welcome. John from Montreal as well. I love Montreal. Been there quite a few times. I definitely need to go back at some point soon. I was there last summer when I did my trip across Canada from Edmonton. Love the city. Beautiful city. Welcome to the live stream, everybody. I would like to know if Hexo will still get to keep Namaste revenue from Zenibus if they sell their assets to Sundial. I'm actually going to do another video on that later on after this live stream. So I'll dive into it more in detail, but essentially as far as I'm aware, it's just the facilities and the assets that they're selling. Hexo still gets to keep the brands and the IP, so the intellectual property, all that stuff. So the rights to all their strains and brands, things like that. But as far as I'm aware, Sundial's just entering into a stalking horse bid, which just essentially means they're going to potentially offer a more valuable bid before it goes to an auction, right? So it's just to maximize the amount of value out of that, out of those assets. But great question. Hexo just released the new Hexo Straight Edge pre-rolls, and they released Gelato and Ultra Sour. So again, this all came at around the same time that that Zenabis was filing for creditor protection, and in my opinion, it is because of Tilray deal, right? We know that they no longer need Zenabis. That was their Zenabis play was for EU GMP certification in Malta, which would give them access to Germany and the rest of the EU. But now they have a deal with Tilray. I'll just bring that. I think I have it up here. Hexo will source MJ products for international markets, excluding Canada and the US, exclusively from Tilray brands. So that means that they no longer need Zenabis in Malta because of the fact that they have to source it from Tilray anyway. So that's their segue into the EU markets. But Hexo's fair game in Canada and US to source it from themselves, right? And again, this is going to save on costs. Huge cost savings as well for Hexo. But yeah, I'll dive into this more. I'm going to do a video specifically on this a little bit later on. But great question. I added 3 Tilray shares today. Very nice. Yeah, Tilray, like I said, still showing a lot of strength at the moment, comparatively. We're still in a daily uptrend. Like I said, as long as we hold 314, we're still in a daily uptrend. So if you are looking for an entry on Tilray, if you're a little bit more conservative, you could enter with a stop below 314, or you could allow a little wiggle room as well. Set it, say, below $3. If we do lose 314, we lose the daily uptrend. But again, if you're like me, you have a long time horizon, you don't really care if we dip more. You don't need to time the bottom. As long as you're buying near the bottom, that's my philosophy. And I'm not investing any more than I'm willing to lose, and I'm dollar cost averaging. I'm just adding at each new low. Every 10, 20% we dip, I'll add some more, right? And I'm looking, instead of using a stop loss, I'm just dollar cost averaging, right? And holding for the long term. My plan all along with MJ, I don't need this money right now, so I'm prepared to let it sit until US legalization, right? That's my game plan, and sticking to it. Waiting for MJ news from Germany. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we could see legalization as soon as by the fall or end of this year. We know New York is coming online with rec sales as well, and there's a few other markets that are testing medical markets. I think Sweden was one of them. And I'm just gonna check in with the POW Group private community here. If there is any ticker requests, like I said, anybody who's joining from the public side on YouTube, you can drop the ticker request and exchange into the chat. But I'm going to look at the ticker requests here in the POW private community here first. And someone in POW Group community made a good point as well, that all this bankruptcy talk of, now that they're saying that Canopy bankruptcy risks are growing. I think it's more FUD than facts. Like Canopy Growth has a lot of options, just like Hexo did when all the FUD was going around, and they have a lot of brands and assets, and I think there's a lot of options for Hexo before ever considering bankruptcy. But POW Group community member, you know who you are, brought up a really good point that all this bankruptcy talk and worry and concern is the potential for the government in Canada to do something, right? To act and to get rid of these crazy excise taxes as well. Drop some limitations on the grams per order. So right now it's a 30-gram limit. Get rid of that. Also get rid of the drink limitation of 5, and allow it in restaurants and bars and events and venues and things like that, right? Like I went to see Russell Peters last night. It was fantastic. Act Your Age Tour, I think it was called, here in Edmonton. And just imagine being able to go there and purchase an MJ beverage as well, right? So there's so much potential just in Canada. I mean, Quebec doesn't even allow, they just started to allow edibles, and they don't even allow vapes yet. So there's so much growth to be had just in Canada, not even factoring in the US, right? BBD.to, yep, this is one I've got as well. BB on my watch list. BBD. Kind of Curious has been dropping pretty good since reverse split. Sold a while ago and haven't been paying too much attention. Okay. And this comes from private PAL group community member request. I assume you mean Bombardier. It's BBD.B. But yeah, they just had a reverse split there not too long ago. 1 for 25. Crazy. Kind of similar to Amazon doing except this was a reverse split, right? But yeah, huge difference in the price. Used to be like $1. Actually, I think it dropped below $1. But yeah, it's been on a brutal slide. Really, really strong year though, from the lows of March 2020 to all the way up to October 2021. We were up almost 8x. And from those highs, we're now down about 66%, but not set up that well if we do see weakness in the broader market. But let's just go from the low to the high here. So we are getting close to the 0.786 retracement level, which is at 1734. So a potential play here would be to enter off of that support. And you could set a stop loss just below if you're a little bit more conservative and a little less risk averse. But if we take a look at the weekly RSI, we're also in the floor here, weekly oversold. Looking at the monthly chart, now nowhere near oversold. We did have a monthly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross, and that has occurred already. So just questioning how much more downside we're really going to see from here. I do think that we could drop, though, a bit further to that 0.786 fib retracement, which should be around 10% from here. So yeah, it could be a nice play, a nice swing trade. Just be cautious if you're entering long term on any name, really, especially after it's run 7, 8x in a little over a year. Like we know with crypto and MJ, we learned that things can continue to drop even when we think that they're cheap now, right? So just if you are entering, I would highly encourage that you use a stop loss on a name like this, where we could still potentially drop. If we lose the 0.786, that's about another 65% just from the next support down there at 650. But this is definitely one on my watch list, but very, very bearish at the moment. We're still in a weekly downtrend, monthly downtrend. We do have a lack of resistance, though, on the weekly up to about 31.75. We're weekly oversold as well. So again, anything under that resistance here at, what's the level here? 31.75 is just a weekly lower high. So we could bounce about 65%, still just be looking for a weekly lower high in a weekly downtrend. So bears full control, but we're diverging here, and we're getting pretty far from the EMAs. Generally, we ebb and flow, and we come back and respect those EMAs. So if we do see a weekly bounce here soon, it's probably not going to happen this week, because we would have to bounce about 40% to even start the weekly bounce. So what I could see happening is we form an inside bar into next week, a tightening range, and then we potentially break next week. But again, just to those EMAs, you're looking at about a 50 to 75% move, right? And then from on the price action, we're looking at about a 70% move. On the daily time frame, so again, daily downtrend with lower highs and lower lows, rejecting at the EMAs. And again, getting pretty far from those EMAs here on the daily time frame as well. And back in daily oversold territory here on the RSI. Let's take a look at the weekly indicators. BBD.B. Oh. Sure what happened there. BBD. Yeah, it's this one here. So we had a bear cross of the stochastic. We're still bearish on the MACD, and we're well below the 10-week moving average there at 27.91. We also have the 50-day moving average there at 29.02. And we had a death cross occur back on the middle of March. So the 50-day crossing, so you can see here back, we had the golden cross That's perceived as bullish when we have the 50-day crossing through the 200-day moving average. When it's crossing below it and coming up through it, that's called a golden cross. And look, if you just entered on that signal alone, the price was around $11, factoring in post-split, and we went all the way up to about $55. Now we have a death cross, which is essentially the opposite, and it's perceived as bearish, so negative. And if you just exited on that signal alone, the price was around the low 30s. And here we are down below 20, right? So that was a pretty big signal that we could see more downside. We also had death crosses on the S&P 500, the tech sector, crypto. Pretty much all names were seeing death crosses, right? So a lot of confluence from that perspective. In terms of the weekly moving averages, we are seeing a bull cross, though, of the 50 weekly through the 100 and the 200. That's perceived as bullish as well. So when you have these shorter term time frames crossing up through the longer term, that is perceived as bullish. And even more so when you're on a time frame like a macro level time frame, like the weekly time frame. So it could be, like I said, it could be a nice play here for a swing trade, but just be cautious here. I would definitely be wanting to use a stop loss. It's not set up well if we see another leg down in SPY, right? SPY still in a daily downtrend. Actually, we broke the daily downtrend, but we still haven't confirmed a daily uptrend is what I meant to say. So again, we remain skeptical until bulls prove it to us. But good eye. That one's looking like it could be a nice swing. But again, I would just be very selective with your long-term positions, and I would highly encourage you to utilize a stop loss on that one. Trusted your analysis yesterday and sold my position in OGI at 140 and rebought today at 133. Nice. That's awesome. Glad to hear that, Rashid. Well, it's not advice, but yeah, it's just my honest opinion. And we knew that SPY was likely going to see a daily high or low at some point, right? We still hadn't confirmed a daily uptrend, and almost a week, right? 7 trading days. We knew that it was inevitable. We were likely going to come down, form a daily high or low. Bitcoin was the clue. It was already starting daily consolidation yesterday when SPY had yet to. And yeah, I said yesterday I was looking at potentially adding Oxley. But Oxley has a bear flag target on the weekly down to about 8 cents. And I said I wanted to see how we react today with SPY weakness. And sure enough, here we are closing right near the low of the day. And we could see that target of 8 cents and that weekly bear flag targeted tomorrow. And so exactly what I was concerned about. Didn't want to make any entries in MJ because, like I said, patience is a virtue. If there's anything we learned as retail investors over the last few years in crypto and MJ is it can always go lower than we think, right? So I was just being patient. I knew that if we saw daily consolidation in SPY still hadn't confirmed a daily uptrend, that this could translate into more weakness for the MJ sector, and we pretty much got to see a red out there today, right? But glad I was able to help you in my analysis and result in some positive trades in your portfolio. That's the whole thing in a nutshell, right? It's the point of Pow Group is to to help you not only make the same mistakes, avoid making the same mistakes I did, but the more eyes on the market, the better. And if you give me a ticker or something like that, there's probably a good chance I don't own any of it. There might be a chance that I do, but if I don't own it, you can get my unbiased, complete, honest opinion on it too, right? But yeah, OGI, great long-term pickup. I think you must mean on the Canadian side. So we'll just bring up the TSX ticker. So it is a daily bear flag, a weekly bear flag as well. I'm on the log scale at the moment. I've been using the log scale as opposed to linear lately. I've been liking it a lot more. I find it more accurate. Wouldn't really consider those enough of a bounce, especially this one here. We'll use it from this high here. So anything under 147 is a potential weekly bear flag. If we don't get above 147, then we could potentially see another leg lower. And if we lose 118, that'll confirm the weekly bear flag. And tick us down to about 88 cents. So again, the only way that I think we're going to get there is if we get some really, really negative news in the sector. Hard to imagine what we would get in the sector that could drop us even more that hasn't already come out already. But one thing I could really see happening is if SPY's losing the potential low of the day here. needs to hold that low at 380.71. If we lose 380.71, that decreases the odds of a daily bull flag, and we could see more of an equilibrium and tightening range. We could pull back to around that 377, 374, which are in line with our fib levels as well. But again, if SPY doesn't confirm a daily uptrend and sees another leg lower here, that could be what drives MJ down another leg as well. Just checking in on the POW Group private community. Not seeing any other tickers, so we'll jump into more requests from the YouTube chat here. Lower high on rates on the long end. Lower high on rates on the long end. I'm not sure what you mean. Lower high on oil. So you got the US 10-year. Yep. US 10-year, US 5-year, we're in a daily downtrend with these lower highs and lower lows. Same with the 10-year, lower highs and lower lows. Anything under 3.317 is a daily lower high. And then if we zoom out to the weekly, what does it mean when we confirm a daily downtrend? It means zoom out to the weekly and watch for a weekly consolidation. We're still in a weekly uptrend is the most important factor here. And we have support there at 3.007%. I think that's what you were referring to. In terms of oil, so oil, we did have a little bit of a bounce here. We went from 110 to 111. Not a huge bounce in my opinion, but we did have a bear cross of the EMAs. We basically touched down on daily oversold. But yeah, topping out at EMA 26. I wouldn't consider that enough of a bounce to say that was a previous lower high. So I would say anything under 118.94 is a daily lower high. And this is another name just like SPY, right? SPY hadn't consolidated in 6 days, and then it started today. So now we're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row without any daily consolidation, still in a daily downtrend on oil. So one would think that we could potentially top out here at EMA 26, come down, form a higher low, and then a higher high. We need to confirm a daily uptrend to be confident in a temporary bottom being set. But I do think that we could potentially see a little bit more downside on oil. We are pulling back here into the end of the day as well with about 13 minutes left. So if we do form a bit of an upper wick and close near the middle of today's range, then that sets us up for a potential daily inside bar tomorrow. And then we'd just be watching at those resistance and supports. And that would be the high of today and the low of today. So 112.19 say, and support at 109.66. If we lose 109.66 tomorrow, we start daily consolidation. We scout a higher low compared to 101.56. And if we break resistance tomorrow after a daily inside bar at 112.19, then we continue the daily bounce, and then we watch resistance up at 118.94. And right now, bulls are just hoping for as big of a bounce as possible to form that higher low. And right now, we have quite a bit of room to form a higher low. But bulls want to see as big of a bounce as possible. So if you're an oil bull, you want us to potentially form an inside bar into tomorrow, and then break resistance and continue that daily bounce, and then that'll give us ample room and even more cushion to form that higher low. Hopefully that helps. I was wondering about the Hexo release, about the miss on Hexo delivery to Alberta. What does this mean? Yeah, so essentially there was, from my understanding, I missed that as well. Rashid actually mentioned it in the private POW group community as well. I read it, but I didn't see that part at the end. That makes sense, though, because I was wondering why Alberta we didn't have a whole lot of drinks selection and stock available. So that would make sense. So essentially, that just means that they didn't get those sales in time to put on that quarter. So it could be good for next quarter, right? I wouldn't put too much thought into that one, though. Need both of those plus the dollar to break down to see the markets truly bounce. Agreed, yep. I mentioned earlier, I'm not sure if you joined the stream late or not, but yeah, DXY. Key support we're going to be watching is 103.41. If we lose that, we're going to confirm. Right now we're just in an equilibrium with a high, low, lower high, higher low, lower high. So we're looking for a clear break of this pattern, right? So that clear break would be a break of 103.41. If we lose 103.41, then it's a bear break in this equilibrium, and we confirm a daily downtrend. We've already started weekly consolidation, but the key thing is we're still in a weekly uptrend on the dollar. And if we were to close a weekly candle below EMA 12, that'd be notable. So those are the three things I'm watching for. Key daily support, daily downtrend confirm. If that happens, then we're going to be targeting EMA 12 down around 102.80. And if we close a weekly candle below that, then we're watching for support here at 101.29. If we lose that, we lose the weekly uptrend. And at that point, we're likely heading down to EMA 26 around the 100 level. And again, if we drop that much, right, that's going to be good for stocks and crypto and assets, right? But yeah, you got the right idea. All right, got about 10 minutes left in the day. We'll do a quick check-in on the market, and then we'll wrap up. Like I said, going to do a couple more videos as well later on. And you can get the notification bell turned on, and you can expect that here shortly after the live stream wraps up. But again, SPY, want to see this low hold. We're now at 380.62. I'd still consider that a potential daily bull flag. I would say if we lose 380, which we're on the verge of doing right now. Where's my, there must have been an update or something here to TradingView. Used to give me the price right down here, but. So it's got notes here instead. There we go. Never noticed that before. Okay, yeah, so 380.75, so we're not looking good here. We're sort of shooting ourselves in the foot here. Not looking good at all. Closing near the low with 9 minutes left, and we're now losing 380.53 is the new low of the day. So we did lose the low of the day today. Could be a bit of a bear trap though. So we want to see as big of a wick here on the bottom as possible, and then set up maybe for a daily inside bar tomorrow in tightening range. That could happen, and then get a break into the rest of the week. But if we do lose the low today, tomorrow, and continue, then we're likely heading down to that 377. That's going to negate the odds of a daily bull flag. But I would still say that hopes are intact for this daily bull flag to confirm. But wouldn't want to see us lose 380. And close at the low wouldn't be good either, right? We had a potential for a gap down tomorrow. So Bitcoin near its low as well. We got a lot of 15-minute bear flags on watch out there. It looks like do have a bit of an inverse head and shoulders here forming on XRP on the 15-minute time frame. But all about support at Bitcoin at 19,751, and then SPY, like I said, we lose 380. Not going to be good. We're likely heading down to that 377 area, and then form a type of equilibrium, sort of what the dollar's doing right now. Bounce tomorrow for sure, but reasonable to look short tomorrow on a lower high for protection. Yep, absolutely. That's something I'm doing as well, is being very selective with my long positions that I'm picking. And if I am going long in a particular sector, let's say the MJ sector or some altcoins, then I'm using the dollar cost averaging approach. I'm not going too heavy too quickly. And I'm also hedging those positions with short positions on the S&P 500. I don't really have much short right now on the S&P. But I will be looking to add more to that short position and my hedge position as well. Would love to see us get that daily bull flag target of about 413 and then add to that short position just as a hedge. But yeah, keeping cash on the sidelines, whatever you got to do, right, to protect. The last thing you want to do, like cash flow right now, and cash is king at the moment. The last thing you want to do is tap all your dry powder and your cash bags and reserves, because what if we see another 10% down on the S&P 500 before we really start to rally again, right? And I mean, potential for just dead cat bounces as well, right? On the weekly time frame, we haven't even started weekly consolidation, and anything under 415 is just a weekly lower high. But we'll start with one time frame at a time, and that's going to be the daily time frame. Now that we have a higher low forming, we have the opportunity for a daily uptrend to confirm, and then we'll zoom out to the weekly, and we'll watch for the weekly uptrend to confirm. And until that happens, bears are in full control. Let's do one more check-in. All right, not seeing any additional ticker requests, so going to wrap it up there. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth, everybody. And again, I'm going to get a couple more videos out a little bit later on here today. So make sure you got the notification bell turned on and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next video. Have a great night, everybody.